I'm putting this on a video. I put it on other channels, but I feel like maybe there's new people that listen to me. I don't know why, but I just feel like I have to say this because you see silly sides of me. You see all kinds of sides of me. You know, I'm a good person. I'm not psychotic, but I've been through a lot in my life, and one of them was taking care of a cancer patient. And so we had to basically sneak out of his sister's house. She hated me, I hated her. She wanted her baby brother to live in the basement, and she wanted me gone. So we moved into an apartment in Vermont, and we stayed there for a year. And his family owned the crane and rigging company. I didn't know that when I met him. We met at a shelter in 2012. I didn't know that. I think we were set up. I don't know. I stuck it out for almost 10 years. I mean, his family has got a street named after them. And so did his sister's husband. They lived right on Lake Champlain. You know, lots of moolah. I could have schmoozed those people. They were thankful that I took care of their brother. I wanted as far away from them, so I went to Arizona where my family was. Well, some of my family. I packed what I could in my little car, and I went across country to Arizona. And then a year later, my mom and my brother passed away, 2 weeks apart. We weren't close. There were no tears. And you should already know why. Do I have to do that video over again too? Packed my little car, what I could, gave everything else away. Some people gave me money because they felt guilty of taking everything, but I had to. So I was Dan's doula, I think that's the word, for a year. And I was only a caregiver, and that had already expired, my certificate. I put on the Morphine administration hat because we lived together. I was basically his wife. So I administered the morphine every day to that man. I'm so thankful that the medical community, back in the 80s, they just let people suffer. Oh, don't give my brother, don't give my dad morphine. He might get hooked on it. Stupid. Of course they're going to get hooked on it because they're feeling no pain. I'm thankful for morphine. That was scary for me. I'm scared of hard drugs. And I had to fill it up, you know, just one. He got one, whatever, in a oral. Anyway. And another thing about his sister and that family on the street they lived on in Vermont, they said, oh, you see that house down there? It was like 5 houses down. There was a couple that lived there, and the husband called his wife, and he said, honey, I want you to come home. I have a surprise for you. When she walked in, he had hung himself on the balcony. A lot of us have been through traumatic, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. The only reason I'm living and breathing and have positive anything is because of Jesus Christ. He's seen me through a lot, and I know that if I stay here, I'm going to help other people, and I am going to go through a lot, but it's going to be okay. So have you ever went through anything like that? Did you know that I did? I mean, I've still got in this bag, it was in storage. In that bag down there, I've still got all Dan's temperatures on a piece of paper that I have to freaking throw away now. Maybe I won't throw it away, you know. What would you do? It's not that I'm, I can't even explain. It's so detailed, but in when I moved to Colorado, and then I found out my mom and my brother had passed away 2 weeks apart. And I had a dream about them and my dad, and you don't want to know it. It's really gross. I had a dream about Dan, and I was in front of this big window, and I went outside and I looked in the parking lot, and there was my car. It was one of those cool electric gas Kias, I think, which I had to get rid of because the engine was, anyway, that's another. But I looked out and I saw Dan in the car, and he was in the driver's seat. This was 2 years after he passed away. And he waved at me as if to say goodbye. 2 years after he died. And it wasn't gross to me because I know how my brain thinks. Dan was a skeleton, just his bones. You know, I knew it was Dan, but it was just his bones because his freaking family cremated him. And I told his family, I said, I don't do funerals. I'm not going to the funeral. You know, I knew he was a... So did you know that about me? I'm not afraid to get on here because I can't see who I'm talking to. But just so you know why we have to release some things and just be silly sometimes. And it did. Dan didn't like my videos. Even back in 2015, he's like, oh my God, I wish I'd have never told her about YouTube.